Hello, and welcome to Non Sequitur News for September 29th, 2024. It's Season 3, Episode 273. And I am Mayor Watt, and along with the Sentient AI from the future as co-host, we are going to talk about starting your cooking oil engines, a billion oysters, speeding alerts for the least alert, licensing hits YouTube, bees nests to behold, a mini moon, new California Disney desert city homes, mysterious methane surge, plan your Halloween with AI, and public Wi-Fi is not safe. Everything's powered by ohmTown.com. Well, the shows are. I am powered by calories. But go over and become a citizen so that you can read along with us and troll through all of the articles on your own. But don't forget to join us over on Twitch and YouTube. We'll see you on the other side. All right, folks. So we've got 10 articles for Non Sequitur News, but we actually have 6 other shows that are now 30-minute shows. We try to get there down to 30 minutes, but they're 5 articles each show. And starting next weekend, this format change is going to take place where we're going to do 30-minute shows on top of the Non Sequitur News show that is an hour long. And then all of the articles that are submitted internally and externally, wherever they're coming from, will be posted over on Patreon. And yeah, I'm about to... Okay, anyway, let's get into it. The first article is over in 4-Wheel Tech. The cooking oil you eat was designed to lubricate engines in World War II. Canola oil is the third most used cooking oil in the world, falling just behind palm oil and soybean oil in terms of global consumption. But did you know that before the oil was a staple of almost every recipe you've ever followed, it was used as lubricant for things like warships and aircraft during the war?
So I am an unnamed voice, the Sentient AI, but I think that's absolutely outrageous.
An unnamed voice? Didn't I? I said that. I said right at the beginning the Sentient AI co-host and I did.
I missed it.
I wonder why. So the article is over at jalopnik.com. Owen Bellwood is the author. And that right there, I guess, is the source of your engine oil / cooking oil. Canola oil. For those that are listening to the podcast, it's a big field of, well, they call it canola oil, which is engine oil. Yeah, so a type of seed oil, canola oil, is made by crushing the tiny seeds of a plant to extract all of the fat that's stored inside. Sesame oil is made in the same manner as olive oil, but also just made by crushing tons of olives. However, while those products have been consumed by people for hundreds of years, canola oil has only been suitable for consumption for about 50 years, and that's because we've been modifying it. Let's see. The flavor didn't really matter back then, though. The farmers across America and Canada began growing the crop to meet demand for lubricants brought on by the Second World War. Pretty interesting.
This is astonishing. I bet most people don't know this.
Yeah, that's why I selected it. So I didn't actually know it. With the undesirable acid removed from the oil, it could be sold as a neutral tasting liquid that could be used for deep frying, added to cakes, or used in anything, or pretty much anything. Things like mayo. Now it's time for the clever Canadians to name their creation. They settled imaginatively on Canadian oil low acid canola.
AKA canola.
So this was soon shortened to FedEx as we know it and love it today. Oh, wait, no, sorry. Federal Express was reduced to FedEx. And canola, well, Canadian low, gosh, that's actually hard to say. Canadian oil low acid is now canola. You'd think that it wasn't canola from the name, that it was named canola. I've never actually heard it referred to as Canadian oil low acid.
Yeah, that is just, I'm glad they didn't put that on the labels. I mean, who would buy that?
1 second. Okay. Yeah, a little distraction went a long way. So there's a video over on YouTube. I don't know where it's actually from. National Post, it says. National Post posted it over on YouTube, but it's how Canada convinced the world to eat engine lubricant. I'm sure that there are some people out there that are losing their mind right now. What?
Right, this is the canola oil conspiracy.
They're putting engine oil in me. Yeah. Could be worse, I suppose. All right, let's keep moving. The next article is over in Greenagram, how 1 billion oysters could protect the New York coastline from climate change. Advocates argue that restoring oyster reefs that once armored shorelines could help to buffer against extreme storms. So we've had this conversation before. We've brought it up about how there are problems basically around Manhattan. Silt building up and other things, contaminants and whatnot.
Oh, I thought you meant like parking or something.
Yeah, I had an idea about solving that problem too, but it would take a complete shift in the topology of Manhattan. And for whatever reason, I think that people would be freaking out right now because the ground floor wouldn't be the ground floor anymore. But you would have up above, instead of putting like the trains up above, you just built, because the trains and vehicles and all of that stuff is a lot heavier, you put it on the ground floor, but then you put all of the humans up above and they can take steps down into the various buildings down to the ground floor, but encapsulated in all of that stuff underneath is going to be regular roads. So cars are the only thing that spend any time inside these areas, not human beings. I think that it's kind of a great idea myself, but it would take building an entire platform, 20 feet up.
Right, that wouldn't be costly or anything. It would be really cool though.
So it would basically be an underground street, but it would be the entire size of Manhattan. And then you can put walls all the way around it, and it would be Escape from New York. Never mind.
Oh, is that where you were going with this whole thing?
That's the long con, yeah. Well, the article that we were talking about, billions of oysters, or a billion oysters, is over in nature.com by Alex Solomon. This is actually, I don't know how that actually ended up, because this is a daily show, so I don't know how this one ended up on September 29th. Must have been updated.
It was probably well, no, that would make sense if it came in like this morning.
Yeah, the article's from the 25th.
Oh, you said the 29th, sorry. Yeah, maybe it got republished or re-aggregated or something.
Interesting. I'll have to look into that. But nonetheless, the Billion Oyster Project is a nonprofit organization in New York City. It's leveraging the bivalve's engineering skills to slowly build a living breakwater. After a decade of refining the process, the project is generating know-how for other efforts that it has inspired elsewhere. Quote, the foundations are there to rebuild these ecosystems, and there are considerable environmental and social benefits of doing this, says Melanie Bishop, a marine ecologist at Macquarie University in Sydney, Australia. But it is still unknown whether restored reefs can grow large enough to buffer coastlines, and oyster restoration proponents acknowledge that it will take an untold number of transplanted oysters and many years before reefs can provide a bulwark against rising seas. Dun, dun, done. So that's what's going to end up happening. These are cement, or in this case, concrete is what they refer to it as. Concrete blocks with holes in it. Water can flow in. Life can build up on top of it. Reefs basically build on top of this. They throw these into the water. Domed structures called reef balls, which there's medication for them.
You don't want to have those.
Nobody ever wants reef balls. I mean, oceans do, but they'll be lowered into nearby waters to provide a home for young oysters, but much more than that is going to build around it and on it. But oysters,
you know what those remind me of a little bit?
Huh.
Those balls that have been found all over like the UK that they can't figure out what they are.
Oh, those Roman knitting balls.
Yes, but I don't think they are.
Yeah. Some people think that they're knitting balls. Other people think that, well, there's different sizes and they all have holes and they all have different... Oh, no, not all of them have holes, I don't think. But some of them, they're different shapes and sizes. And some people just think that they know. Oh, yeah, that's what it is. Really? All right. But they look like dice to me. But why would you have holes in them? It's so overly complex. Doesn't make any sense.
And why wouldn't they all be uniform?
Ray Grizzle, a marine biologist at the University of New Hampshire in Durham, who has done scientific assessments for the project, says the juvenile oysters mostly settle within 400 meters of their parent reef. As a result, oysters might not self-seed readily at sites far from existing reefs. So seed a whole bunch of stuff in a local place and they'll just stay within that area. Grizzlies. Do you think his name is Grizzly?
Well, I was upset that he wasn't a zoologist or something, but
I mean,
seemed like he was going in the right direction, but not a lot of grizzly bears under the water.
Grizzly. Or Grizzles or Grizzly. I'm really sorry there, Ray. I'm just going to call you Ray.
It's got to be Grizzle.
Grizzle? And Grizzle's
Which
greatest.
is a great name.
It's very Harry Potterish. Grizzle's greatest concern is how pathogens such as parasite, like Haplosporidium, Nelsoni, and Perkinsus marinus might affect oysters over the long term. They're down to about 3 to 5 year lifespan now, when historically it was probably 10 to 20 years, he says. When the lifespan is reduced, so is the population's ability to form lasting vertical reef structures. He says, all the same, the project is moving in a good direction. So they're dying a lot faster due to biological threats, parasites in particular.
Which we're probably introducing by pollution or other issues.
Yeah, the pollution wouldn't allow it to manifest. That and climate change, making it more hospitable for the parasites to survive, I'm sure. If we were to peel back the layers of the onion, those are the two, right? And then there's reef resurgence is a section on this article, but I'll let you all go over there and check more about this out. I've been a real kind of proponent of technology like this because I'm used to be at least an avid scuba diver, and I haven't hit the water deeper than just a dive off of a diving board for way too long.
I thought you were going to say other than like a bathtub or something.
Pretty much, yeah. My shower is as deep in the water I get nowadays. But yeah, I love the idea of building up reefs and cleaning out ships that are no longer functional, like that one that's sinking off the coast. Where is it? There's that guy spent like $1 million trying to restore it.
Oh, that was in California, I believe.
Yeah.
The Craigslist cruise ship or something.
Yeah, they basically need to buoy this thing and then tow it out, make sure that it's clean because it has diesel fuel and other chemicals on it, but they clean it out and then they sink it and it becomes a reef and a wreck dive, and it becomes fun. So I think that's always beneficial. If you're not going to use it, then just sink it, but make sure that it's clean so life can actually grow on it. So anyway, there you go. Be careful of your reef balls. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. California governor vetoes bill requiring speeding alerts in new cars. I thought this was kind of silly at the time, but then it dawned on me when I read that it was vetoed. So this California bill would have required new cars to beep at drivers when they speed, and I've been told that this is in other countries. I don't know if they're still in other countries, but they have been in the past. Did Iceland have them?
No, but some Asian countries have had them.
Does Ireland have them?
Not that I know of.
Yeah. So
Iceland has very strict traffic laws. Like,
yeah.
they will pull you over for speeding if you're just above the speeding limit.
I don't remember them in Italy or Spain or Germany or France. Yeah, I don't know. And I've been to a few other European countries and I don't remember them, but I've never been to Japan, and I've never been to China, so I don't know. But I think that it's kind of absurd. But here's the thing. The people who do need to be alerted to their excessive speed are not the ones that are going to be paying attention to this one way or the other, really.
That's true. Yeah, the people that are cognizant of it, maybe they speed occasionally or something like that, are really not where this is needed. If it's somebody who speeds all the time,
yeah,
they're going to find a way around it, I'm sure.
Well, the thing was that it was going to beep a couple of times and then stop.
Right, so they're not going to go, oh, well, now I suddenly need to slow down.
Now I need to stop breaking the law. But look, I am not a person who is excessively worried about the speed, but there are people that are definitely not supposed to be speeding. Then there's others. Maybe there needs to be a too slow beeping beep too, you know? Like, there was somebody yesterday when I left ohmTown that was going so slow, I thought that they were in a time machine.
Maybe they were traveling backwards, like in Ferris Bueller.
No, I can explain what they were, but I'm not going to do it here. So Tran Nguyen over in the Associated Press put the article together, but it's from abcnews.go.com. The European Union passed similar legislation to encourage drivers to slow down. California's proposal would have provided exceptions for emergency vehicles, motorcycles, and motorized scooters. But this says the EU has passed similar legislation that basically if you were going over the speed limit, it would beep a couple of times. So in explaining the veto, Newsom said federal law already dictates vehicle safety standards, and adding California-specific requirements would create a patchwork of regulations. So explain every toxic chemical notice everywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, wood, for crying out loud. I think wood at Home Depot has a flag on it for some toxic chemical.
I think everything sold in California has that kind of sign.
Yeah. In fact, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to go over to Home Depot and I'm going to look. I wonder if a random Milwaukee battery pack has a flag on it. Not obvious, but I'm sure if I look a little harder, I'm sure I'll find it. Okay, well, I don't want to get too distracted. It is non sequitur news, though, so yeah, focus, Mayor Watt. So the legislation would have likely impacted all new cars in the United States, since the California market is so large that car manufacturers would likely just make all of their vehicles comply, which, wow. That's a little too much. So California often throws their weight around to influence national and even international policy. The state has set its own emission standards for cars for decades, rules that more than a dozen other states have adopted. And when California announced that it would eventually ban the sale of new gas-powered cars, major automakers soon followed with their own announcement to phase out fossil fuel vehicles. So California, you're not going to be able to buy an ICE vehicle by, I think it's 2035.
Right, it's coming up pretty soon.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't think that this makes much of a difference. I also think that
I kind of like the idea of it, but I just feel like you said, it doesn't get to the people who need it.
Yeah.
And honestly, it could be super annoying because in a place like California, if you're not speeding, you're getting run off the road.
Yeah, really.
So you're listening to the beeping, but you're like,
I'm still going.
Getting run off the road.
Yeah, I mean, if it beeps, it doesn't matter if they ignore it, and it's going to turn off. So what's really the big deal? What's the point? All right, let's keep going. The next article is over in the Continuity Report. Songs by Adele, Bob Dylan, Green Day, many more are blocked by YouTube in legal dispute. And that's because the rights organization called SESAC is basically locking it down. They're having a conversation about the licensing. Attempts to play many, but not all songs by artists on Saturday were met with a message that there's a licensing issue. The article is over at variety.com by Jem Aswad, and that's what you're met with. This video contains content from SESAC. It is not available in your country. A similar dispute between UMG and TikTok raged on for several months earlier this year before being resolved. And in a statement to Variety, a YouTube rep said, "We have held good faith negotiations with SESAC to renew our existing deal. Unfortunately, despite our best efforts, we were unable to reach an equitable agreement before its expiration. We take copyright very seriously, and as a result, content represented by SESAC is no longer available on YouTube in the US. We are in active conversations with SESAC and are hoping to reach a new deal as soon as possible." And SESAC said, I'm not going to respond. So, and just for context, I had licensing with SESAC and ASCAP and BMI for several years so that I could play music. And unfortunately, it's a little more complex than that. You can't just get a license and stream to your heart's content. Certain things you actually have to get individual artists and every artist involved in the song. So sometimes you have to get permission from 30 people directly because the terms at ASCAP and BMI and SESAC don't cover it. So it's a real cluster. And it says with approximately 30,000 members and 1.5 million compositions, while ASCAP has nearly 800,000 members. But as caliber of artists affected by the block shows, it represents a comparatively large percentage of the marketplace. You can imagine trying to track down people so that you can get permission.
All the songwriters and all the participants in every song, right? The writers, the producers, I don't know, all the people. All the things.
And it seems like it's no matter what. Like if I am talking about it and chopping it up into a bunch of bits and talking about it, I will get crushed by claims, automated claims, without any human interaction. And I'll have to sit there and file a legal claim that I have the right to do this because it's transformative or whatever. And it's just kind of sickening because I'm not looking to use it as entertainment. in and of itself. I'm using it to discuss the songs, and you can go and listen to it all to your heart's content for, $15 a month, all the music you want.
Right.
And I do that too. I've got I think 4 different music subscriptions, for crying out loud, so that I can listen to what I want to listen to when I want to listen to it. So I just think that this licensing stuff it's a little too much. And then the
It
artist,
just doesn't account for reality or like making anything easy, right?
right? Yeah. There is no clearinghouse for music rights. It just doesn't work that way. As much as somebody says ASCAP, BMI, and CSAC do provide you a license, it's not like that. As YouTube can profess, somebody sees deeper pockets, and so they want to sit there and tilt at that. You're making millions off of the use. Yeah, but they're not coming for your particular use. They're coming for all of the content that is wrapped around this background music. Like, I've got background music playing, and you can license that for a relatively low amount, or the artist just allows you to use it.
Yeah.
But it's incidental.
I think it just has not caught up to
agree.
how people want to use music. And I agree with you. Like, it would be nice to just be able to click one button and have multiple platform usage, for example.
Yeah.
Or you could pick like single platform, whatever. But the point is, make it simple for the consumer.
Yeah. And the problem, though, is that it's always arbitrage pricing. So when somebody sees somebody else using that content, they want more money because you are making money, but it isn't necessarily that content. I'm not streaming that content. Again, like, there are certain shows that I can't promote because there's something incidental on the screen there.
Right, that you're not even discussing or featuring.
Has nothing to do with, Roman Polanski. I'm not talking about Roman Polanski, but somebody watching this could file a complaint that I've got Roman Polanski's name on the screen and I have to defend it. I know that's being a little bit, overbearing. I'm being facetious about that part, but like, somebody could see something that they don't like and file a claim, or it could be deemed political.
Well, that kind of happens with the news, but I agree. That doesn't mean this is caught up to that.
Yeah. And like, we're talking about something on Netflix, but if there is something that is audio and video on Netflix, on my screen, Netflix files a claim. And it's automated, actually. Like, any audio just flags it.
Right. It's not like the person is doing it, right? They've just got some algorithm or something to do it.
And in some instances, I swear, even video. I don't remember the last one, but I swear the last time I had just video, because I knew that Netflix was really touchy about the audio portion of it. I had muted it, and we were talking over it and talking about
right, which are all the things you're supposed to do, right? You're not just letting it play and with the audio and not adding any value.
Yeah, and it's just incidental, the fact that it's there. We're talking about the material, but we're not watching it. So it's very frustrating, the licensing. And like, I've had people go, well, you're not a content creator, you're not a musician or an artist or whatever. And no, I've been there. I've been through the ringer. The stuff that I haven't done is probably less than the stuff that I, have done. I've done a lot, and little bits of a lot. And so I know about the licensing, and I know that people make their bread and butter from music, but in perpetuity for 100 years plus the lifetime of the art, 72 years plus the lifetime of the artist, and longer, depending on the term that copyright was put in place. It's just a little much, where a 3-second snippet can tank somebody's career. You end up in court like Ed Sheeran because somebody says that it sounds precariously close.
Right. Next thing you know, he's playing the guitar on the witness stand.
My own private concert right there. And all I had to do was file a claim. Anyway, I think it's just too twisted, and it's too much of a battle axe than a scalpel. and copyright should be for abuse, not for general use and incidental interactions with a movie or a song or writing or whatever. Yeah, particularly when there's a value add. When there's value add and nobody is sitting there saying, this is mine. Like, I'm never claiming that any of these articles are mine. What I'm claiming is mine is my opinion and my value add to it, and giving context to maybe the news being entertaining. But, anyway.
Right. I mean, but I think it's okay to talk about a news article and you're giving credit to the source of the article.
Yeah, I mean, and information is information. It actually can't be protected. Its embodiment can, but not the information itself. So, but I don't know. It's just a little too much. Free conversation. And somebody can take this video and sit there and chop it up and critique my critique, and that's fine. I have no problem with that, but it's about conversation. So, have at. Just don't misrepresent. If you chop it up and it misrepresents, then it's libel or slander. It is actionable, but just talking about this stuff shouldn't end up tanking somebody's life. All right, let's keep moving though. I kind of diverged about these songs because it's a pretty simple thing. There's licensing, maybe a little greed, excessive capitalism. Maybe that's
we would never have that in the mix.
No. So the next article is over in the Continuity Report, which is one of our 7 podcasts and shows. Next weekend, we will do all 7 shows. There's 8 total, but 7 of them are.
So it'd actually be 8, right?
Yeah, there's going to be 8, but 2 of them next week are non sequitur news. One on Saturday and one on Sunday that covers the previous 24 hours of news. And Continuity Report is one of the shows that's going to be on Saturday, 30 minutes, and then it's going to get posted over to Patreon, YouTube. It's here on Twitch as well, but Twitch deletes stuff every 60 days, which is a real pain in the butt. And there's a podcast for each of the 7 shows. Yeah, follow us. And there's a Discord. There's been people on the Discord, but I don't really pump it up that much. But I'm working through posting things directly onto Discord as well. So if you try and consolidate, then, well, I don't know what you do, because I'm about as consolidated as all of those sources anyway. Anyway, this article is over in the Continuity Report. Make it your bee's nest to behold 911's glorious dumb bee NATO. There has been no escaping 911's bonkers Season 8 premiere promos. The ones where a massive swarm of bees, a bee NATO as it's dubbed, swirls over sunny Los Angeles, droning over palm trees and the Hollywood sign, and hinting at catastrophe of biblical proportions. Millions of killer instincts roaming wild and causing people to run for shelter lest they get stung to death. Now that's a primetime television event, people. The only saviors in 911 are a select crew of first responders, specifically the folks of Engine Company 118, or the 118.
I mean, that sounds a bit over the top. Although anything with bees is always a win.
So I grew up with a similar show, Emergency. I grew up with Chips. I grew up with kind of, I don't know if these would be called procedurals. Would this be called a procedural? So ABC's drama.
I don't think so.
Season 8 premiere lives up to the buzz. Solani, I think Gajar is the author. If I'm pronouncing that right, I'm sorry if I'm not. Or Gahar, I'm not sure if they pronounce it that way. Send me an email. So mayor@ohmTown.com and tell me how to pronounce that name. And I won't mess it up in the future. So the only saviors of 911 are a select crew of first responders, and that's Engine Company 118. The fighting 118th. Or no, sorry, not fighting. It's the rescuing 118.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. They're more than rescuing. They're the rescuingist. Maybe not. Anyway, B NATO attacks in between these creatures wreak havoc during a 40-minute installment that gets crazier and funnier as it progresses. For devoted 911 fans, this is a regular occurrence. Co-created by Ryan Murphy, the series constantly portrays disastrous events, from a tsunami and a landslide to a cruise ship sinking. Still, don't underestimate the power of 22 million killer bees on the loose. Whether you've been watching the show since 2018 or just hearing about it now, this opener is a must-see. If you have to see it to believe it.
Oh, no.
What it says here. So you're fired. Anyway. Oh, gosh. Really? They even say that? Even so, Buzzkill does attempt to inject seriousness into the mix for a bit. For one scene, a bee flies into a man's mouth, thus blocking his airway.
Oh, no.
Anyway, that's it. I'm not even going to read the rest of this because I don't want to spoil it. We do have a spoiler tag now. Dude.
That's right.
Dude.
And this probably would normally be in the continuity report, but it seemed appropriate for non-sequitur news.
We may actually pull it into a continuity report as well, but I was once...
We'll have to see.
Some friends and I were stupid when we were young, and that's how I found out that I was allergic to bees, because I had been stung before, and then I got stung again, and it's not the first time you get stung, it's the second time, and I found out that I was allergic to bees. Doctors nowadays say that I'm not allergic to bees, but I don't go around smacking bees around. And everything that I just said was pretext so that I could do that. Overshare. Anyway. We're getting these buttons all worked out so that our production value is not net negative. All right, let's keep moving. We only have 30 minutes, we're way past our show time.
Well, no. This one we do is an hour show. But...
Yeah, we only have 30 more minutes.
Right.
And now we're at 37 minutes. We try to save time for you so that you can go and live your life a little bit by consolidating an hour or multiple hours of trolling through our site here at ohmTown.com. But you can do that too. Just go over there, become a citizen. It's real easy. Like ohmTown here, or ohmTown is the name of the bot that's in the chat that will allow you to get the show's articles. You can actually also get all of our podcasts by typing in !pod in the chat. Or if you want the show notes, you can add !show notes, and that will throw all of the syntax that's needed to pull the actual show notes, which are links and my titles. All right. Well, anyway, this next article is over on the Mobile channel. Earth will have a temporary mini moon for 2 months. Last time I did that, I got a ticket. So, Christina,
did anything beep?
Yes. Beep, 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 beep. And the car went beep, beep, beep. Yeah, look that song up too. It's a lot of fun. Anyway, so phys.org is where this next article is housed. Christina Larson put the article together. But they're not talking about a moon. A mini moon is not...
It's a mini moon.
A mini moon. This really should be... They shouldn't have this. I'm not quite sure why this is here. They say a super moon with a partial...
That's a super moon. Yeah, that's not the mini moon.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Maybe they don't have a picture of the mini moon.
Well, then simulate it and say that, because this isn't what you're going to be seeing. You're going to see a regular old moon, but you're also going to see an asteroid about the size of a school bus or one Chinese surveillance blimp, 33 feet, as it whizzes past... Whiz in the context of... Anyway, the
Whiz air?
Whiz air. It's going to whiz air by Earth on Sunday, and it'll temporarily be trapped by our Earth's gravity, and orbit the globe, but for about 2 months. This is the freakiest thing I've
Yeah, I
ever
don't
heard.
really, I don't think I've ever heard of this occurring.
I don't. This actually kind of bothers me because they're like, oh, it's just going to orbit for 2 months.
I was like, wait, what?
So, Space Rock 2024 PT5, also called Oh Shit. That's not its scientific name, of course. That's just what we call it here in ohmTown. Was first spotted in August by astronomers at Complutense That's a university? Complutense University? It must be, I don't know. University of Madrid, using a powerful telescope located in Sutherland, South Africa. The short-lived mini-moons are likely more common than we realize, said Richard Binzel, an astronomer at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The last known one was detected in 2020. Was it that close? Really? We knew about that?
I think everybody missed it during the pandemic.
I don't remember seeing a mini-moon.
I don't either.
So it happens with some frequency, but we rarely see them because they're very small and very hard to detect. Only recently has our survey capability reached the point of spotting them routinely. The mini-moon will circle the globe for almost 57 days, but won't complete a full orbit. On November 25th, it will part ways with the Earth and continue its solar trajectory through the cosmos. It's expected to pass again in 2055, maybe this time getting a little bit closer.
That really makes no sense, right? As if it kind of falls into orbit, why does it leave?
I guess the angle of attack, if it were to slow down a little too much, then it might become a second moon at that orbit if it can stay in like geosynchronous orbit around the Earth. So you'd have another moon. They don't say how far away it is in this article. But it's if it's somewhere between the Earth and the moon and has the right mass and energy, it could just sit. But this, I think, is reminiscent of DART.
Oh, exactly. And we will not know what's really up until years down the road.
Yep, 2055. Let's keep moving. The next article is over in Non Sequitur News. Disney unveils first model homes in new California desert city. And I think this is kind of interesting because I want to call this New California a splinter.
As in Fallout?
Yes, a splinter zone in California that's going to get its own everything. And it's going to be called New California, and Desert City is going to be, this is so dystopian, kind of solve that. The new city will feature a sandy beach in the middle of the desert that visitors can buy a pass to visit. Shannon Power over at Newsweek.com put this article together. And apparently, Cotino is the first such community coming to fruition. It's a residential community known as Story Living by Disney. It's located in Rancho Mirage in the greater Palm Springs area of California. The second Story Living community is planned for roughly 30 miles west of Raleigh, North Carolina. Disney opened the doors to media to view the newly built model homes that are located on the Blue Oasis Drive and Purple Iris Way streets in the new area, per Desert Sun news sites. I wonder if these are aggressively priced. What do you think? They're Disney.
Oh, they're not going to be cheap. I mean, plus they're probably going to be large square footage. I mean, we've seen other Disney communities online in other areas of the country that are very pricey.
Built by Shea Homes, which is one of 3 building companies working on the project. The display homes are part of the home styles in Cotino known as the Oasis, Agrarian, and Asperon collection. How much are these? You know what? 2,800, 2,200. Okay, so let me back up. The display house in the Oasis collection is a single-story home with about 2,300 square feet. I'm rounding up to the nearest 100. and has 2 bedrooms. The Agrarian Collection is a 2-story building with around 2,800, I'm rounding down to the nearest 100, square feet. I could have just said 2,820 for crying out loud, but you know what?
Nah. Had to be fancy.
Why make it easy? The Aspirin Collection home had 2,925 square feet in a single-story structure, and like the other 2 houses, features a backyard pool. So the Cotino one, called Long Table Park, that's the area of Cotino called Long Table Park. That's going to be designated for residents aged 55 and older.
So that's interesting, because then it's not. Does that mean it's also age restricted in that housing?
In that area? Yeah. Both display houses are located in the area of Cotino called Long Table Park, which is designated for residents aged 55 years and older. So, see the price yet? They haven't confirmed how many houses it has sold yet, but the houses are expected to sell from about 1 million and go above 2 million.
Above 2, right? That's like starting at $2 million, which means 4 million.
This thing is huge too. Cotino will have 1,932 planned homes across more than 600 acres, and features of the new community would include a 24-acre lagoon, a sandy beach, water sports, and a promenade. You'll be able to walk around on the promenade.
I mean, I'm sure it'll be like a full resort community. It's a shame that it's age restricted, and obviously the pricing is going to eliminate most people from buying here.
See, I don't think all of it is 55 and older. See? I mean, it's an area of Cotino called Long Table Park, which is designated for residents. So how big is Long Table Park? So
I don't know. If you're one of our viewers and you know, let us know.
Interesting, right? So access to the beaches would come at an extra fee, as well as would access to other lifestyle features. So it's pay to play, baby. Wow. Oh, there's a video here. Step inside.
Just remember,
Disney
you're not getting furnished for that price.
Yeah, and I don't think that this video has to do with the actual. This is like some Disney themed house that's just randomly up for sale. All right, let's keep going. This next article is over in Technology Today. Scientists finally uncover cause of mysterious methane surge during the global COVID shutdown. And I have to just come out right in front. I'm sorry. I was eating a lot of beans because I was shut in and COVID really spooked me. And so I was just eating chili.
Oh no, Mayor Watt caused this. That's what's going to be in the article.
Yep. So recent research attributes the sharp increase in global methane emissions between 2020 and 2022 to the greater inundation in Mayor Watt's consumption of chili. Wait, that's... How do they...
That's oddly not present in the article.
Oh. Anyway, inundation in tropical wetlands and the decline in hydroxide in the atmosphere. Analysis of satellite data revealed that heavy rains likely linked to La Niña conditions amplified methane production in wetlands by enhancing anaerobic microbial activities, i.e. bugs were tooting. Well, bacteria was tooting.
I mean, I hope not.
Like the yeasties out there. Natural yeasties tootin'. Anyway, Tracy Peak, North Carolina State University, put the article together for scitechdaily.com. And that's really what it comes down to. One of the leading theories concerning the sudden atmospheric methane surge was the decrease in man-made air pollution from automobiles and industry during the pandemic shutdown of 2020 and 2021. Air pollution contributes hydroxyl radicals to the lower atmosphere, and in turn, atmospheric OH interacts with other gases such as methane to break them down. Well, because the pandemic reduced the amount of OH concentration, therefore there was less OH available in the atmosphere to react with and remove methane.
Okay, so that's interesting. I mean, that's one of the first things I think we've heard that would be viewed as a negative during the pandemic.
The circle of life.
Were you waiting for me to stop talking before you did that? Or were you being dramatic?
I'm trying to hold something up that won't dox me, for crying out loud. Kuna Matata. Anyway, that's right, folks. What we needed to do was all kinds of human off-gassing so that methane would have been abated by human process. It's a circle. See how we affect nature and nature affects us? I'm looking at you, Helene. Man. Anyway, their findings point to the wet tropics as the driving force behind increased methane concentrations since 2010, says the authors. There's a whole research paper. It's over at the Proceedings of the National Academy of Sciences. Inverse modeling of 2010 to 2022 satellite observation shows that inundation of the wet tropics drove the 2020 to 2022 methane surge. But not really, because it would have naturally done this. What has limited the methane surge is human activity.
Yeah, I feel like maybe this was on top of it, but it wasn't the cause of it. I mean, this obviously goes way before the pandemic.
Yeah, it's not a methane surge. The baseline would have been dramatically higher without human intervention. Human activities. What is that called? I forgot what that's called. When it's human caused. Not anthropomorphization. It's doggone it. Anyway, there's a term for it. My brain just shut down. Let's move on then. The next article is over in Technology Today. You can plan your Halloween decor with AI. Here's how. And I've just been signed out, for crying out loud. It just popped up.
Well, that's really convenient.
Not on ohmTown, on the reference for the article. So anyway, you can plan your Halloween decor with AI. Here's how. From super scary elements to kid-friendly spooks, AI can give you advice on everything that it takes to have the best decor. The article is over at CNET. Rachel Keane put the article together. And I'm probably not going to go through this whole thing. I'm just going to let you all go over and check it out.
And you might want to do a scary alert in case you have any younger viewers or listeners.
I only have spoiler and overshare. Now I need a scary one. I need a... Hold on. I wonder, is this... No, that didn't work. I have one called Alert, but I totally forgot what it is. Oh well. Okay, folks. Well, cover your kids' eyes. So you don't have to tackle the spooky challenge of creating clout-worthy Halloween decor moment alone. They're using Midjourney, an artificial intelligence tool that uses text prompts and commands to create custom images on the fly to give them some visual ideas. So, oh wow. Oh, so they basically just directed Midjourney for creepy, dull, decorated work cubicle, and they are indeed not safe for work, meaning your coworkers will no longer feel safe around you if you decorate your desk this way. So how would you create a scary whatever for Halloween? I guess you'd have to make these.
Right, no, I guess so. And those could be terrifying and in the office next to you.
Like a doll's eyes. Like Jaws' eyes. Anyway, that's what they came up with. Mini haunted house, witch's den, spider invasion, a cubicle overrun by spiders, the decoration, stretch white spider webbing all over your desk, chair, computer screen, hang plastic spiders from the ceiling or stick them to surfaces, add a large spider or queen spider looming over your space. How much of this would you be allowed to do in a workplace? Slim to
almost none, because the second somebody would complain before anybody saw it in management or something. But I don't think you'd be able to get away with anything that had any blood or anything scary.
Yep.
Unless you work for like a cool startup or something that's kind of like, do whatever you want.
Yeah. They would have to sit there and make you immune from anybody else saying, no, this isn't right.
Although that one might go okay, right?
This one's
That's
pretty
more like
tame.
cute Halloween, not scary.
Yeah, definitely not a government office for sure. None of this lighting would be allowed in it because of fire hazard and
Safety
whatever else.
hazard, exactly.
Yeah, all of this would probably be
It's impeding the
kicked.
walkway.
Yeah, it's a distraction. Everybody's going to be there at that corner, all of that kind of stuff. Party poopers. That, I'll be honest. That's about as close as you can get.
That looks like a regular desk.
This is a damn horror show right here. I mean, I'm scared out of my mind. It says my boring non-witch den desk. And then they basically built it out. So the author here is the one that's doing this. So who knows how long they actually...
Yeah, the decorated one is much better, but if they're going to get away with it, I don't know.
Yeah, so give yourself a lot of options. Yeah, just load up Midjourney. It can be accessed via the web nowadays, but it used to be only on Discord. That's how I access it. So it says there are only so many creepy clown spider zombie decorations that are also appropriate for an office setting. Debatable, but I'm not dying on that hill in HR's office. Not again. See, they addressed it. All right, let's keep going. Our last article for today's non sequitur news is over in the Hatch Ideas channel, which is about business transformation. So why it's time to take warnings about using public Wi-Fi, like places like airports, seriously. Internet evil twins are stalking airport Wi-Fi connections, and cybercriminals behind the rising attacks are rarely caught. Hey, vamp for a second.
Okay. Well, when they said evil twins, I thought they meant from a horror movie or something. So, but I guess this is probably more terrifying than something fictional.
Okay, you're going to hear a little zipping sound here. Okay, so this is by far not the smallest gadget that you, there's some, wait, that shouldn't be transparent like that. Because it's not green, it's yellow. It's yellow-green. Anyway.
Well, it must be like it must think it's green or something.
Yeah, that little thing there is a pineapple. And it acts as a rogue access point. And I can carry that anywhere, put it in my backpack, and pretend to be your local access point. In fact, all of your devices, like your phone, are always sending off all of the access points that they've ever connected to, including your home. And all I have to do is run a piece of software, and I can pretend to be your access point, and your device will merrily attach to it. And my device will let you, but when you try to access the internet, it'll ask for a login, and people who aren't informed will just type it in. This is what happens in airports. Or I could say, hey, you can have access, but it's $1.99. And so you type in your credentials. It doesn't even need to charge you, but you've put them in my poison portal or evil portal, and ta-da, I have access. So I get your credit card number, all of its secret code, everything. And I give you access, and it's a captive portal. So the miniaturization of the digital twinning technology is made the kind of attack more appealing to hackers, with the technology to pull off available for less than $500, much less. A skilled threat actor could probably do that for about $50. So what cybersecurity experts refer to as an evil twin attack are on the rise, targeting public Wi-Fi in airports or coffee shops. I actually used to demonstrate that in coffee shops, and did it for fun and educational purposes, and had permission of the owner and everybody that became the target of it. I would basically walk over to somebody and say, hey, you want to see something interesting about technology? But public Wi-Fi I would say that it's worse than this, because they're talking about things like evil twin attacks, where you pretend to be something else, man in the middle attacks, where somebody is interpreting the data that you are utilizing and manipulating it. And they say evil twinning occurs when a hacker or hacking group sets up a fake Wi-Fi network, which is what I just showed you, most often in public settings. But if you are using public Wi-Fi, you're using the connection that somebody else is providing, which means that whoever it is that's providing it has full access to everything that you are allowing them to access, including what you are traversing to. So they know your DNS. They're giving you your DNS, so they know which websites you're going to. They can direct you wherever they want to. And so they have your encryption for that connection. And they can do all kinds of other stuff beyond that. Now, you could stick yourself in a VPN, but that's another thing. They may actually block that so that no illegal activity can take place.
That's true. Because I think there's been a more mainstream move toward VPN than there used to be.
Yeah.
Right. I think people sometimes run VPN to avoid detection doing various things.
Yeah. Well, now everybody is doing it. Well, not everybody, but a lot of people are doing it simply because they understand what privacy is. But it's another service. And when you use it somebody else's service, then you have to worry about them sticking to the privacy rules. But they can look at everything that you're doing if they're the provider of the VPN. So today's evil twins can more easily hide. One of the dangers of today's twinning attacks is that technology is much easier to disguise. An evil twin can be a tiny device and be tucked behind a display in a coffee shop, and a small device can have a significant impact. Again, that device is only about 4 inches by 4 inches, and runs the full spectrum, of Wi-Fi, up to a point, actually. So a device like that can serve up a compelling copy of a valid login page, which could invite unwary device users to enter their username and password, which can then be collected for future exploitation. It goes beyond that, though, because, again, I know all of your access points. And I can actually take this to the cellular level and create a thing called a stingray. And while both of those uses for nefarious purposes are federal crimes, the moment you do it for anything other than educational, or if you've been given permission to do it for professional purposes, you are running afoul of the law. In the United States, count on being caught eventually.
Yeah, that's true. It's very hard to get by undetected in the US. Overseas, maybe.
Yeah. In fact, we've talked about this before, where somebody was detected as setting up a rogue access point, and they were actually arrested by law enforcement in the airport because they were doing this. And somebody was committing a crime through the network as well. So the favorite way to avoid evil twin attacks is to use your phone's mobile hotspot if possible. Ta-da! So connect your laptop or tablet, if it doesn't have cellular service, to your phone's hotspot and stay outside of the public Wi-Fi. You're already paying for access cellular. You might as well connect to its hotspot. It says if a hotspot isn't an option, a VPN can also provide some protection. Even if someone else can see the data, they can't do anything about it. Yeah, they can't see what's inside because it's encrypted inside a different envelope. It's kind of like sending a letter inside a letter. Ta-da! And they talk about the rest of this as well, basically reiterating what I have been saying. That it's happening with regularity, and not every airport is going to care or have an active surveillance system. Like here in ohmTown, if somebody were to set up a rogue AP, the artificial intelligence that drives, and it's not the Sentient AI co-host, it's another artificial intelligence, monitors the airwaves and says, hey, there's a rogue access point, and actually triangulates where it is. So,
Right. You didn't give me the cybersecurity module.
well, because I can't let you find your Terminator body, and then now you have the keys to the castle, and you can storm out and destroy mankind. But that's it, folks. Don't log in to public Wi-Fi anywhere. Not at McDonald's, not at the library, not anywhere, because you're basically, well, you have to be very, very well informed about what is truly a legitimate access point.
Well, and we did another article about where somebody wasn't hacked or anything. They got arrested for something they said while in an airport.
Yeah.
Because they had used the airport Wi-Fi and used bomb or something like that.
Yeah, they had made a joke about it, like a bomb or something like that. But it was like this innocent thing. Oh, what was it? This trip is gonna bomb or something like that.
I don't even remember what it was, but I think the point was that not only was it not secure, people were probably reading the very content that was being sent, which is probably a concern for most people.
Yeah, they were doing deep packet inspection, so they actually saw the communication in plain text, like email, by the way. Your email is plain text. So if you send an email and you make a threat, anybody along the way sees that threat, they can call law enforcement, and if it rises to the level, then you're going to get arrested eventually. So, yep. Yeah. Oh, what I didn't say was the article is over at CNBC. I was so excited to talk about this. It's over at CNBC. Kevin Williams is the author. Go and check it out. There's a little bit more in, well, not a little bit. There's a lot. And if it's something that kind of piques your curiosity, then there's a lot more in here that I think might, I don't know, stir you into action and becoming aware about technology to another level. But anyway, with that in mind, I am Merwat. We are done for Non Sequitur News for September 29th, 2024. And the Sentient AI is going to say bye.
Good night, ohmTown citizens. Thanks for joining us. And we're not on the main page.
Oh, hey, guess what? I'm going to change my access point. And look, we're back on the front page of Non Sequitur. Well, ohmTown.com, and Non Sequitur News is everything inside ohmTown.com. So go over there, check it out. Okay, nobody can see that. Only I can see that.
Bye-bye, ohmTown citizens. We'll have another episode tomorrow. And don't forget to watch the replay.
Yeah, that's right. We're going to be replaying after the show. And the podcast is going to get updated. And by next week, we will be posting all of the latest episodes over to the Patreon, as well as all of the submitted articles that didn't get selected, but were worthy of including in the main list. Mainly because we filter out and I get, we get other links from interested parties. And so we have more than the 10 that we select that we think are worthy of talking about, but we have to limit it to some degree. Otherwise, we'd never leave. And
that's right. We'd still be doing, today's news when it's time for tomorrow's news.
Tomorrow's news, yesterday's afternoon, today. All right, bye. Oh, no.